We have some Lions news and rumors for you folks today, and in this video, we're going to be talking about Charles Harris healthy, what it means. Lions linebacking coach, absolutely think he's going to be a big piece to the Lions defensive line. Is David Montgomery a freaking downgrade from Jamal Williams? An ESPN analyst says so, and he talks about the Lions' offensive rankings. And should the Detroit Lions look to sign veteran pass rusher Melvin Ingram? Let's get this thing going. Goal for today's video is to get to 300 likes. So go ahead and hit that like button. Let's get to 300 likes and show those Bears fans that Montgomery is ours and he's helping our team out. Let's talk about Charles Harris here. Lions linebacking coach Coral says Charles is a tremendous veteran leadership presence. Said on Tim 20-Man's podcast, he does things the right way. His attention to detail, the way he comes to practice, the way he brings what he does to the game. A healthy Charles Harris is going to make us much better on defense. And he is correct. A healthy Charles Harris is a good Charles Harris. When he was healthy for the Detroit Lions, he was racking up sacks, a good free agent pickup. Not healthy, nothing's happening here. Can he really come into his own? We got to question him and Romeo Okwara, the veteran guys. Can they stay healthy and make a difference? Guess what? The coaches think so, and I do as well. Him on the field, Aidan Hutchinson, Joshua Paschal, Romeo Okwara, all of the pass rushers can make a big difference. Can be a good situational pass rusher, a good player to have when you're mixing things up. So the question for me to you here is, how many sacks will Charles Harris have in 2023? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way up, all the way down. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let's get into David Montgomery. Is he an upgrade or is he a downgrade to the Lions backfield after we didn't get Jamal Williams back? I'm going to give you my thoughts right here. I think when you look at David Montgomery, his stats are going to be a little bit different and lower than what Jamal Williams are. For sure, that's going to be the case because if you look at the situation between David Montgomery and Jamal Williams last year, it was much, much different. David Montgomery was behind a booty cheeks offensive line, the worst offensive line in football, as Jamal Williams was with one of the best offensive lines in football. The offense for the Chicago Bears was booty cheeks, couldn't do anything. The Lions' offense with Ben Johnson was much improved. It's just night and day, the situations that David Montgomery was in with Chicago in contrast to what Jamal Williams was with the Detroit Lions. And if you look at David Montgomery's stats last year, he had 201 carries for 801 yards, 5 touchdowns for average. Obviously, Jamal Williams had much more than that. Much more touchdowns, much more yards. Everything was much better for Jamal Williams than it was when it comes to David Montgomery. And this is what he says. He says, Gibbs is likely an upgrade on traded back DeAndre Swift, but Montgomery is a downgrade from Jamal Williams, who was much closer to a league average back over the last 2 seasons. He is correct that it was more of an average back for the last 2 seasons, but the situation, like I stated before, was completely different. Now you're given David Montgomery, who sheds tackles like hell, who's a bowling ball. With this offense, Ben Johnson, and the weapons wide receiver, and Jahmyr Gibbs, Jared Goff, efficient offense, and a top 2 offensive line in football compared to what he had last year, in the last couple years with that booty offense, it's night and day. I think David Montgomery is going to have an explosive year, and his yards per carry will be closer to 5, in my opinion. His touchdowns will probably double what he had, probably 10, 11, 12 touchdowns. Jamal Williams, in my opinion, is going to a worse situation. The offensive line is not as good. The offense is not as good. He was a beneficiary let's be honest, to the Lions' offensive line and punch it in the end zone. Now, it's not a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with that. But David Montgomery, in my opinion, is an upgrade on a physical standpoint, on a, power, what he brings. I think he's better power back. I think he sheds tackles better. I think all around he's a better running back. Now, he doesn't have the same attitude as a Jamal Williams, who absolutely has got a great vibe to him and a swag to him. But Montgomery is a leader as well. Montgomery is a good running back, and I think he's an upgrade. I do absolutely disagree with ESPN's Bill Barnwell that he is a downgrade, but that is just me. So this is going to be the pinned comment for this video. Is David Montgomery a downgrade over Jamal Williams? Simple. You put D for downgrade, U for upgrade. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let's continue on here and talk about, and why I'm giving this one, again, a one Lions logo here. I think it's stupid. I think it's ridiculous. Charles Harris, healthy, is 3. I think we all figured that. But we're going to get into the Melvin Ingram situation right here. And I'm going to go ahead and give this one a 1 logo because we're being told we should sign this guy. Why am I giving it a 1 logo here? Look, he is a good player. He played in 17 games. He had 6 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 15 solo tackles. It's not the player, really, in all honesty. It's not, because Melvin Ingram's still pretty good at his old age of 34, 6'2", 264, drafted in 2012. The thing when it comes to Melvin Ingram, and why I give him 1 logo, and why I think the Lions probably shouldn't sign him, is because the Lions have a plethora of edge rushers right now that are veterans. We have Romeo, Charles Harris. Those guys are veterans. We got John Kaminsky, who re-signed, who's a veteran as well. And then you got the young guns in Aidan Hutchinson and Joshua Paschal. If the Lions are going to make a move at edge, I would prefer it to be a young guy with a higher ceiling, not a 1-year deal situation. More of a longer solution and taking a chance. Say if they wanted to trade for a Chase Young. That would be more ideal to me. But when I look at the edge position, we're stacked. We're absolutely stacked there. So to sign a free agent right now just doesn't seem too logical. The only thing that I could possibly think is if you're thinking there's a brighter future for a player, and you're thinking, like a Chase Young type of player. In all honesty, if they wanted to go the veteran route, you can go Yannick Ngakoue, who's better in production last year, who's younger than Melvin Ingram. But 34 years old, it's a little bit tough for me to look at that one for sure. I think it's tough. I would make the pass. That's the route I would go, in my opinion, on this one. Personally, that's what I think the Detroit Lions should do. Now let's go back to the ESPN article, because I think this is pretty interesting here. Bill gave the Lions offensive weapons a ranking of 16 out of 32, in which I think is perfectly fine. I do think the Lions offense weapons is good. I still think it's more of 10 to 12 range, but we seen PFF last week gave the Detroit Lions offensive weapons a bottom 10, but here he gave it the Lions a 16. I think people are underestimating, first off, absolutely underestimating David Montgomery and what he's going to bring to the Lions run game. I think that he's going to bring a different dynamic here and a sustained power run game, and they're absolutely downgrading what Jahmyr Gibbs is going to do for the Lions at the running back position. He's going to play running back. He's going to play wide receiver. He's going to be utility knife. I think he's going to be used all over this offense, and I think it's going to significantly impact the other receivers and tight ends. When you have a player that defenses must pay attention to and account for in a Jahmyr Gibbs, it opens up Amon-Ra St. Brown, who he loves. It opens up Jameson Williams when he is free to roam the field. It's going to open it up for everybody else like Sam Laporta. And the offense is going to take a continued upward trend with those weapons. And you got Jared Goff sitting behind a top 2 offensive line who's just going to pick you apart. It's going to make those weapons even better. And Khalif Raymond, the most underrated player all of the Detroit Lions here, just never gets talked about, what he continues to do for this football team. So I think it's a better statement that he gave for the Lions in regards to what PFF did, but I still think it's a little bit low in my opinion. I do. I think it's a little bit low, and I think the Lions should get a little bit more love there for that. And I didn't put it on the Lions logo roundup, but I'd give it a 2 Lions logo out of 4. I think it's better. I still think the Lions have better offensive weapons than they're getting credit for, but at the end of the day, this is what we got to talk about and what the mainstream is thinking for our football team. So let me know in the comment section, what ranking do you give the Lions' offensive weapons? 1 through 32. Let me know your thoughts in this one. Like I said, I'll probably go 10 to 12 in that range. I don't think they got the best, but I think they're underrated. I think they're going to make a difference when you have so many weapons come together and they just work off each other. They truly do. And that's such an underestimated idea that we have for the Detroit Lions on offense that we're not getting credit for. Folks, hit that like button. Let's get to 300 likes in this video. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so. It's really easy to do. You hit that big old red subscribe button. Thursday, we are live for the One Pride podcast. Get ready for that. It's going to be a fun show. With that said, folks, adios.
Perfect.